Session 4, final session. I promised you that by the end of this day today, you will walk away with a marketing plan. That was the deliverable, okay? And I meant it. So how do we get to that marketing plan? And there was a question that was asked a little earlier today, thinking we were getting ahead of ourselves about talking to the owners, but we haven't talked about how to actually find them yet. Well, that's what this covers, how to find those owners, okay? I wanted to finish with the marketing plan. We had to know how to talk to them first in order to create the marketing plan, okay? So let's move forward. Recording is going. You guys can see my screen, yes?
Bueno.
Yes.
Awesome. Now, if I can just minimize everybody so I don't see your pretty faces, we can get this done. So what are we going to cover in this lesson? Well, how do we find multifamily owners? That's why I didn't answer that question earlier, because I knew we was going to cover it. We are going to create a marketing plan to owners. Okay. How does that look? What does it look like? And we're going to create an email marketing sequence. Okay. So it isn't just about an offline marketing plan where we're doing outreach via phone, where we are sending emails, which I guess would be an online plan, social media strategy, all these other ways that we're doing it, sending letters to the owners. We also want to automate part of this process. And although in step 6 of my method, we talk about automation tools, we start that process here because we have the opportunity to start an email sequence. So we're actually going to talk about an automated email sequence in this class today. And then finally, we'll talk about hiring a virtual assistant. And every virtual assistant I've ever hired, I've used this process. And I know other people that have used this process to success. And then we'll cover final steps, if you will, and then we'll go into final Q&A. So we have finished foundation. Okay, you guys have created your goals, identified your numbers, selected your market. You've got your $1 million message down for both the owner and syndicators so that if you have an opportunity that you're not interested in, you can get it pawned off to somebody else and still get paid. So finally, we are going to cover the action plan. And I wanted a big deliverable that I could give to you, and that just made sense rather than just staying in foundation. Okay, so we went one extra step. So that's where we're going to cover now. So how do we find multifamily owners? Well, you're going to need property and ownership data. Somebody mentioned earlier about title companies. That is one of the ways. Okay. First, you need to know number of units and asset class or classes that you want to go after, because you can end up with a whole lot of information. Just ask some of my strategic partnering members. I went and I pulled all 517,000 conventional properties in the United States in 390 markets around the country, all the owner information, all the property information, everything that CoStar provides, everything but email address, and published it in the strategic partnering labs. Took me a full month to have it done. Okay. You don't need that much information. We're only looking for 450 to 750 owners so that we have velocity and the ability to follow up. Without the ability to follow up, you're never going to be able to get traction on multiple opportunities. Can you find one or two without following up? Sure. But you're going to want the ability to follow up. So we need enough markets, no more than 3, preferably 1, where you have 450 to 500 or 750 owners. And it starts with knowing how many units and what asset classes that you're willing to go after. Then, if you don't have access, or you're not a strategic partnering member, because my strategic partnering members get to request this information, you go into CoStar, Reonomy, Prospect Now, or LandVision, which are the 4 top tools for finding ownership information. And you pull the ownership data for the market that you're interested in. Keeping in mind that some will have the information, some will not. So Reonomy has the best ownership data. Their analytics sucks in most parts or most areas. They don't even have analytics. So there are no rent analytics in Reonomy. Prospect Now is not in every market in the country, but they have good data in the markets that they are in. And Land Vision, I've heard nothing. I've never used Land Vision. I've used the other three, and I use CoStar now. I've used the other three. I've never used Land Vision, but I've heard nothing but good things about Land Vision. Land Vision is more for developers, but it provides incredible information about the properties. And it isn't just vacant land, it's all properties in the country. So I would recommend at least getting a demo of Land Vision if you're in the market for one of the tools. But these are the 4 top tools where you can find ownership data. You can also go to a title company and get a farm report, or you can go straight to public record. So I'm going to type this in. I always give this resource out. Did I type it right? netronline.com. All right. So netronline.com, I just put it in the chat, is the property record database for every county in the country. Most of it is good. Well, actually, all of it is good. I think all of the counties now today have GIS maps. So you can either search by GIS map, or you can just do property record search. You can also do public record searches. So if you are doing due diligence and you're purchasing a property and you want to see what's been recorded publicly on the property, you can do a public record search, but the public record searches usually in most markets have a small fee you have to pay to get access to it. That's the only thing that gets charged. If you're just pulling property information and ownership data and things like that, or mapping, there's no charge to any of that in almost every, well, actually every county I've looked in hundreds. Okay. But you will have to pay for some of the, like if you wanted to pull up the loan documents, it would cost you to be able to pull those loan documents. It's pretty cheap. It's, I don't know, it's like $1 a page or something like that. I think when I bought the property in Gregg County, Texas, which was Longview on I-20 in Northeast Texas, when we were doing our due diligence, I wanted to pull all the public record information. I think I spent $16 to pull up all the records. So very, very affordable to do so. Christine, I don't know about down in Miami. She's down in Miami, but most title companies, if you build a relationship with a good title company, you can ask them if that title company provides farm reports. That's really what we're looking for. It's called a farm report. And they'll charge for it. They won't give it to you for free. But you should be able to get farm reports from most of the title companies. I haven't had any pushback from any I've tried, but I'm in Alabama and we're a pretty open state here. Oops. So again, for Platinum and Strategic Partnering members, if you've identified the market you want and the asset class you're looking for, email me and I will pull the owner reports for you. Okay. But that is only for my Strategic Partnering members and the Platinum people that upgraded to Platinum, which by the way, was only 6 people. Okay. So that's another way to get it. And then, like I said earlier, either buy those tools or have a relationship with somebody that has those tools so that you can get this data.
David,
Yes.
quick question. So we pulled the list. We pulled the list through our Reonomy. And the problem with Reonomy and CoStar is that sometimes they'll give you like a piece of the building or the property, and like they won't have the correct actual address or the correct unit count. So then therefore you have to research it on apartments.com or another website. Do you have a shortcut for this problem?
No.
No. Okay. Cool.
No, because all they're doing is pulling public record information. And what is in public record is what they're displaying.
All right. All right, then, David. Thank you.
Yep. The data that you get is only going to be about 60% accurate, which is why we have to verify the information from those reports. So you're going to have to skip trace this information. Okay. You can either skip trace it yourself through a software called reiskip.com. I think they charge about 15 cents per record that they find. So if you send 100 records, but they only find 65, then you get charged 15 cents per record on the 65 records. But the information that they pull is pretty good information. They give you multiple phone numbers, multiple email addresses, and some additional information that the other software doesn't give you. So I've been very happy with reiskip.com. It's one of the tools that I like to use if I'm trying to verify owner contact information. Or if you don't want to use the tool, you can hire a virtual assistant either on Fiverr, onlinejobs.ph, Upwork, or other resources. Those are just the top 3. Okay. And we'll talk about, as we get to the end of this section, how to hire that virtual assistant. Okay. So you do need to verify this data. It's like old Ronald Reagan used to say, trust, but verify. All right. So once we have ownership data, whether we got it through a title company, whether we got it through, I didn't mention you can reach out to real estate brokers, see if real estate brokers will pull the data for you. Typically they won't because they want to do it themselves. Whether you use a VA to pull data for you, the title company, or one of these tools, now you have 450 to 750 owners that you can market to. So now we have to actually go into the marketplace and we have to start reaching out to the owners. Okay. So first contact attempt. We just got their contact information and now we're going to do our first outreach. So this first set of information, when I did this all on the same day. So I would mail a prospecting letter to the owner. I would also call the owner that day. Normally I wouldn't get a hold of them. So if I didn't get a hold of them, I left a voicemail. Hopefully I got to leave a voicemail and I did not get an assistant because I knew that if I left a message with the assistant, the message would not get to the owner. So I preferred, if the assistant ever asks you, would you like to leave the message with me or do you want me to connect them to the voicemail? Always get connected to the voicemail. Yes, you need to provide a VA with the list. Now, there are some VAs that say they can go out and find the lists for you, but now you're relying on somebody else to do a job you should be doing, and they're probably going to miss the mark on what it is you're looking for. So I would provide the VA the list. So if you leave a voicemail, send an email. And I'm going to give you a hack on the first email you send after you leave a voicemail. And I think you're going to find it very interesting. Some of the people that have seen some of my other training on how to reach out to owners, they know already what that hack is. But for most of you, you've never seen this. And it works. It gets you about a 20% response rate, which is better than what most emails you send will get you. But we'll get there in a minute when we get to the actually showing you the marketing plan. So you left a voicemail and you sent an email. After you send the email, make sure you add that contact to the CRM and you launch your email campaign. And I don't care what CRM you use, whether you use ActiveCampaign, Aweber. I don't ever recommend MailChimp or Get Constant Contact because they have zero deliverability. They've been blacklisted by most internet service providers. My favorite is a tool called Kartra, but it is more than most of you need. It is a marketing tool that encompasses everything from landing pages, email marketing, I can sell products through it. It's got a shopping cart, a membership area. Basically everything you see me do, I do through Kartra. All my web pages, my website, everything is all built on Kartra. It's more than you guys need. For whatever reason in the real estate world, Active Campaign seems to be the one that receives the most attention. I personally didn't like Active Campaign. I preferred Aweber over Active Campaign, but we're talking many years ago. I've been with Kartra since 2018. But you want a tool, a CRM, that you can start an automated email campaign. And we're going to go over that email campaign shortly. And a lot of you may be thinking, what about spam? We're going to cover that too. Okay, we also, on this same day, remember this is still our first contact attempt. This is all in the same day. We want to connect via social media. So if you know what there's, it's K-A-R-T-A. K-A-R-T-R-A. Kartra. That's it. Thank you, Chris. Ooh, hey, Chris, what's going on, buddy? So lost my train of thought. So we want to connect via social media. We're just connecting here. So if you know, and that's one of the things that REI Skip provides, is it provides their social media profiles that you don't get from anybody else that I've seen. You don't get it from CoStar, Reonomy, and none of them. It will actually provide you their social media profiles. Now there is Prospect Now. It's either Prospect Now or Reonomy used to give you their LinkedIn profile. They don't do it anymore. I don't know why, but they pulled it from their service. But REI Skip will give you, if they have the social media handles, they'll give you what they are. So that's another reason why I like REI Skip. So we want to try to connect with them utilizing our process. Of course, I didn't show you guys this. So what I like to do when I connect via social media is I always connect with some kind of note. This really works well with LinkedIn because LinkedIn allows you to send a note when you connect to them. My note is really pretty specific and very brief. It just says, hi, Jim. My name is David Monroe, CCIM. I'm a multifamily investor, strategic consultant, and CCIM instructor. And I believe a connection could be beneficial to both of us. Send. That's it. Nothing else. You want to make sure that it touches on them as well as on you when you send that connection note. Okay. Do not send them a direct message without being connected to them. For no other reason than they're probably not going to receive it, because all the social media channels now have spam filters, and they'll put them in these little special folders that most of you probably don't even know where they're located. So whether it's Facebook, whether it's LinkedIn, or any of them, you can send a direct message without being connected, but they're probably never going to see it. So you want to be connected first. Okay, make sense? Yes or yes? Do not text yet. Okay, it's coming. First attempt, we do not text. All right. Now, we do this same thing, except sending the letter. We do the same thing every week for the first 4 weeks. Then we transition it to doing it monthly for the next 5 months. So we've got 6 total months of prospecting. If they have not responded to anything you've done in 6 months, time to take a break. Maybe take a break for a year, 6 months, 9 months, 2 years. It's up to you. Depends on what your prospecting channel is, what area of the market we're in, and then try again later on. Of course, you're going to have to verify whether they're still the owner or not before you start that process over again. Okay. So week 2 through 4, contact attempts. Again, we call the owner. Okay. The great thing about calling the owner is they haven't heard your voice yet. Or maybe they did listening to your voicemail, they just didn't respond, but you have not reached them yet. So the script for calling the owner is the same each and every single time until you finally reach that owner. Now we're going to leave another voicemail. If they don't answer, now this will be different than the first one you left, because we don't want to leave them the same voicemail twice. Again, we're going to send them an email. Let them know we left them a voicemail. Okay. We've already got the automated email sequence working, so we don't have to worry about that. But now we want to send them another email, say, hey, tried to reach you, I missed you. And we'll show you how to do this email in the marketing plan here in a minute. Now that you've connected via social media, now we want to send something of value, maybe an article, a news piece, something that benefits them so that we can build trust and build a relationship with them, try to stay top of mind, even though they have not responded to us yet, and attempt to contact them via direct message. So now this is the first time we've gone out via direct message, and now we can send that first text message. All right. So now we're doing both DM and text. They're going to see one of these at some point. Now, whether they respond or not, that's up to them. But at some point, they are going to see you're trying to reach out to them. Okay. Now we've done that every week for 4 weeks. Obviously, we're changing up what we send them, except for our call script, because we haven't talked to them yet. So now we do month 2 through 6. Now we're back to mail and prospecting letters. So you mail a new prospecting letter every month if that's something you want to do. The last prospecting letter campaign I did was a total flop. I would never do it again. But it is a process to be used. It has worked in the past. And for some people, it's worked for them even today. For me, 50 plus units in 11 MSAs within 4 hours of Mobile, Alabama. It did not work for me. So I will never send another prospecting letter. Again, call the owner, leave a voicemail if you don't talk to them, send an email if you leave a voicemail, send value through social media, and attempt contact via direct message and text message. Okay. So we're just repeating the process. We're just following up. For most people, it takes anywhere from 4 to 7 touches before they'll respond. Some won't ever respond. It means they don't want to hear from you. Some will respond and say, we don't want to hear from you. Make sure you take them off your CRM. Do not respond to them again if they tell you that. Be respectful of that process. If they say, take me off your list, stop emailing me, stop calling me, whatever. You don't want to get in trouble from the federal government. Just stop your contact at that point. All right. So let's take a look at our marketing campaign template. Where is Word? There is Word, marketing campaign. All right. So again, this was written a couple of weeks ago. I wrote it for the master lease option class, but still can be used here. You may have to modify some of this. All right. So day 1, make initial contact attempt to reach decision maker. Can you guys see this okay?
Yep.
All right, good. So, hi, Jim. My name is David Monroe with Premier Apartment Services. I understand you're busy, so the reason for my call is to set up a time you and I, or if you're using a VA to schedule appointments for you, you and my boss could talk to see if you would like your debt payments at 123 Main Street guaranteed for the next 3 years. Are you available tomorrow morning around 10:30 your time? Okay. That's our phone script. If they don't contact you, leave a voicemail. Hi, Jim. My name is David Monroe with Premier Apartment Services. You can reach me at 251-508-0010. I'm calling to see if you like your debt payments at 123 Main Street, guaranteed for the next 3 years. Again, my name is David Monroe at Premier Apartment Services. I look forward, or at 251-508-0010. I look forward to hearing from you. Now, if you leave a voicemail, send an email. This is the one I want you to pay attention to. Here's the hack. Subject line, voicemail. That's it. Nothing else, just voicemail. The message, I left you a voicemail. That's it. Nothing else. Your signature. Okay. Make sure your contact information is in your signature. That's a hack. It works, but you can only do it once in the marketing plan. Don't try it multiple times. So they'll get the email, and if they read it, they'll look at it, voicemail. What the hell is this about? They go in, they look at it, and they say, and you say, I left a voicemail, and nothing else. Huge open loop. Huge open loop. So now they're like, well, what the hell? I don't want to listen to my voicemail. So they'll either call you, what the hell did you leave? Or they'll email you, what the hell did you leave? Or they won't do anything. Okay. But this gets about a 20% response. You'd be surprised. It's a pretty cool hack. I learned this from a sales training that I took through a group called Sales Gravy. Pretty good hack. It's worked well for me over the years. Now, you want to make sure you record what you did in the contacts history in the CRM. Again, because you left that voice or because you left that email, when you record that contacts history in the CRM, start that email sequence, that automated email sequence that we'll cover here in a few minutes. So once we've done that, we want to connect with them via social media. So connect via Facebook group and like their Facebook page if they have one, if you can find their Facebook profiles. Same with LinkedIn, follow their LinkedIn company, connect via Twitter, follow on YouTube channel if they have one. Do not send anything to them or initiate a conversation at this time unless they initiate the conversation first, right? Because some of them, after you connect with them, they may respond and say, thank you for the connection. Now you can reach out back out to them and say, whatever it is, whatever the hook is that you're trying to use, or maybe just say, hey, I appreciate it. What is it you do? Do you own any properties? What are you looking for? It is a typical conversation most people start with when they're building relationship in our industry. Mail prospecting letter. Again, we're still on first day. Here's the letter. My name is David Monroe with Premier Apartment Services. We're seeking to provide solutions for multifamily properties in the Southeast. We would like to cover your debt payments at 123 Main Street, guaranteed for the next 3 years. I thought the best place to start is to schedule a short phone call to see if our solution fits your situation. Please call me at 251-508-0010 or send me an email at david@davidmonroecim.com. Set up a day and time to talk. So this is the letter that you send. Now, again, this was the master lease option method that we were doing this on, but this is still a great hook to get somebody to respond to you. So now that was first week. All right. We made our call, left our voicemail, sent our email, initiated our email automated sequence, connected via social media, and mailed our prospecting letter. Okay. We did all that in one day. I have found that you can get through about 20 in a day doing this. And that was what my goal was. I would send 20 a day, 100 a week. That way it's staggered out so that if I did get a lot of responses, I wouldn't get a whole lot of responses that I couldn't respond to fast enough. So I tried to stagger them out on a daily basis, keeping in mind that I was a real estate broker and this is all I did. Okay, I was full-time real estate broker and this was my outreach. This was my prospecting. Okay. First follow-up, 1 week later, make follow-up contact attempt. Hi, Jim. My name is David Monroe with Premier Apartment Services. I understand you're busy. The reason for my call is, okay, so same exact call script doesn't change. Remember, they haven't spoke to you yet. Now our voicemail is different. Hi, Jim. This is David Monroe with Premier Apartment Services. You can reach me at 251-508-0010. I'm calling again to see if you'd like your debt payments at 123 Main Street guaranteed for at least 3 years. Again, my name is David Monroe, blah, blah, blah. So we changed, I'm calling again. Okay. Repeating because it's powerful. Now we send an email. Subject line. Remember the last subject line was just voicemail. Now it's guaranteed debt payments. Message. My name is David Monroe with Premier Apartment Services and we're seeking to provide. So same exact thing you send in your letter. Now you just put it in the email you send. Okay. Because they probably took your letter and threw it in the circular file and didn't even look at it. All right. So you want them to see this information, so send it again via email. Then we initiate contact via text message. This needs to be short and sweet because you do not want a long text message. Hi, Jim. If you're worried about the coming recession and whether your NOI will drop below your loan payment, we can make sure you always have your debt service covered. Do you have a few minutes to find out how? Quick, sweet, and to the point, and you're asking them to respond. Okay, that's text message. You can do the same thing through direct message. All right. Now we're following up via social media. Find or create an article or post that provides value. Share it to the prospect's Facebook, LinkedIn, and or Twitter accounts. Second follow-up, all of it's the same. Voicemail changes, email changes. Second follow-up for text message changes. And then providing value changes, and then you've got your initial contact via social media direct message if they're connected. So now what you sent the week prior via text message, just send them the same thing now via direct message, just staggered a week. Okay. Pretty powerful. And you just keep doing that for the first 4 weeks. And then we have our month 2 follow-up. Okay. Same thing, just repeat, same process. And then you've got your month 2 follow-up, month 3 follow-up, so on and so forth. All right. And you just have to modify it for that. So that's the marketing plan. That's how we reach out to owners. Okay. Any questions on the marketing plan? And of course, all the VIPs have access to this in the members area.
Hey, David, it's Oma again.
Hey, Oma.
And I apologize. I got kicked off and had to relog back in. And I wanted to make sure that I understood it properly. You had the REI skip and the CoStar as the 2 places to pull that from. What is the capture rate through those?
REI skip was how we verify the data we get from CoStar.
Okay. So you use that to verify CoStar.
Correct.
Okay. And then what's the capture rate on the phone numbers?
It's about 60%.
60%? Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Jason, scroll up the text because I saw somebody that said they use Reonomy. I don't remember who it was. Oh, there it is. April Prater uses Reonomy. Okay.
Yes, I do. I mean, do you have a question about it or?
I think he just wants to connect with you, April. You guys connect offline.
Oh yeah, connect with me.
Yeah. All right. Email marketing. CAN-SPAM Act. Somebody tell me what that says. Break it up. What does it say?
Can spam. You can.
Spam. It's written right there. A lot of people, and even me, up until a year ago, I thought that the CAN-SPAM Act said you could not spam. But if we look at the title, it says I can spam. And you can.
You just have to follow the rules.
Once. Yes. And what Sean just said, you must follow the rules. But the rules are pretty stinking simple. There's not much to the rules. So what the CAN-SPAM Act says is that you can email somebody, you can spam somebody a message. But in that message, there must be the ability to unsubscribe, and it must have your contact information. That's it. And if they unsubscribe or reply and ask you to be removed, you must remove them and not email them again. That's it. It's that simple. So that said, create an automated follow-up sequence, because I'm telling you that marketing plan, the offline marketing plan, well, offline/online marketing plan, it's a great marketing plan. And it was part of the reason I found $560 million in off-market opportunities in 2018. But it was only about 20% of the reason. The other 80% came from my email follow-up sequence. The money is in the follow-up. It is in the follow-up. It is in the follow-up. I can't overemphasize that it is in the follow-up. And if you can automate the process, why wouldn't you? Okay, so we want to create an automated email follow-up sequence. And our goal here is that it is a relationship building campaign, but it's mixed in with some call to actions. It's weekly, or at least I did it weekly. I would recommend you do it weekly as well. And you want it at least 8 weeks. You can run it as long as you want. There are some people that like to do it monthly. If you do it monthly, make it newsletter type. It's a little difficult because newsletters are just that. It's news in a letter. How do you create news 11 months ahead of schedule? You really can't. There are some people that do it, but you don't have very much newsworthy items in that letter that you're sending. So I don't recommend the newsletter style because it's hard to automate. It's much easier to do a weekly campaign where we can automate the whole process. And it gives you the ability to broadcast opportunities when you find an opportunity. Okay. let's see. Tech says Marlene had her hand up. Marlene, did you have a question? I don't see your hand up now.
Hi. Yeah, I do.
Go ahead.
Okay, I didn't know if you could hear me.
Yeah.
Why do you say in the email sequence, debt payments for 3 months, I think is what you said.
Oh, no, we were guaranteeing
3 years, I mean,
the debt was covered for 3 years. Yeah, because
why 3
typically
years?
a master lease option, you're doing it for 3 years. And the reason is because lenders want 3 years of back information. They want the P&Ls, rent rolls, you know, if they don't have enough, they'll ask for tax returns, different things, but they want 3 years of data to make an underwriting decision. So if we operate the property for 3 years, it becomes very easy for us to be able to get a loan underwritten if we're going to not get owner financing and we need a debt partner. That's why.
Okay, thank you very much.
Ma'am.
Thank you, Tech.
David, do you also do this to find buyers for your properties? Do you run something similar? Or people
No,
that would be buyers?
My process is different for finding syndication and sponsors, syndicators and sponsors, which are the buyers.
Mhm.
I go direct through LinkedIn and build relationships with them on Facebook and things like that. I don't use, because it's too difficult to find lists of actual people that are buying. Now you could take that same owners list, because a lot of owners are still buyers, and you can have that conversation with them even through your automated email sequence to see if they are still buyers. But I only do this for owners.
Okay, thanks.
Dominique, do you have a question?
Yes. What part of this process, the marketing process, do you recommend outsourcing or not outsourcing to a VA?
All of it.
Not to do it, or
To do it. All of it.
Gotcha.
Yes. The more you can outsource, the more time you can spend having conversations with the actual owners, syndicators, and sponsors.
Noted. Thank you.
Oh yeah, all of it. Because this marketing plan and this email list, this is for reaching that contact the first time, actually speaking to a decision maker. The more we can automate that process or have somebody else do it for us, the more time it allows us to spend holding appointments. Make sense?
Yep.
Vishal, I don't believe you're going to get the proper information. You can search on REI Skip for real estate. You can search by multifamily and you can search by unit, but it is only public information. And so in some states, like in Alabama does not list their multifamily properties by unit in public record. They list it by square feet. And so, or was it, no, not Alabama and Mississippi. And so in it's Alabama. So like if you use Prospect Now or use REI Skip or something like that, you're not going to be able to search by unit number because they provide the information to public record by square feet. So that's what you have to be careful of and why you need one of those other tools for the lists. Scott and Tabitha, Calendly is widely used in our industry, but because I have Kartra has its own built-in calendar, so I don't need it. And anytime somebody schedules an appointment with me on my calendar, they're automatically added to my email list and I can start an automated sequence without touching anything. Before I even have a conversation with them, I got a full follow-up message going. That's why I love Kartra. Good questions. All right. So the other thing is when we find an opportunity, we can broadcast that opportunity to our email list that we are creating. So what I recommend doing is go ahead, question.
I'll ask it later. Go ahead.
All right. So as I'm running my campaign and I'm doing my 20 per day, as I'm entering the people into the CRM, because I haven't entered them in the CRM yet, I've just pulled the data from CoStar and got it verified through REI Skip. As I'm entering them into my CRM and I add them to an email list, and that triggers that automated sequencing campaign Because I've added them to a specific list, now if I find an opportunity, now I've got the ability to broadcast to that list that opportunity. So the more people I get into that CRM, the more people I can send and broadcast an opportunity. Okay. Whether it's a syndicator sponsor or whether it's an owner.
Yeah. So my question, David, is I know you said that you don't like sending text messages up front. However, how do
No,
you
I
feel?
don't like sending text messages on first contact. I'm all about sending text messages on that first follow-up.
Okay. So my question is, like I'm using a software like the Text Magic because we're gonna have like thousands of phone numbers, and now what I'm thinking is just sending a simple text that says, "Hey David, are you the owner of 123 Main Street?" And I'm hoping that we get some replies, yes or no, so that we can kind of cut out the numbers that we know are not the right numbers, and like for the few that say yes, then we know that we have the decision maker, and then we can call them with our real number. How do you feel about that?
I have no problem with that.
Awesome, thanks.
I have no problem with that. I think you'll get some erroneous data from that because owners that don't want to be reached out to, they'll just tell you no, hoping you'll go away. But that's a risk you take when you do something like that. And again, it's just numbers. If you're sending thousands of text, then
Yeah.
it should work out to your favor. Because remember, we're only looking for 450 to 750.
Yes, exactly.
Right. So I got no problem with that whatsoever.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Oops. So let's look at our email sequence template. And again, the VIPs and above have access to this in the members area. So going back to the master lease option theme, and this is easily editable so that you guys can make it for your own. Time is running out. With inflation out of control, interest rates rising, yield curves inverted, and the Fed reducing their balance sheet, a deep recession is on the horizon. We're already seeing cap rates on the rise because as the interest rates on debt increase, the buyer must get an interest rate lower than the cap rate, or they will have lost the ability of leverage on the loan. We're also seeing rents decline as the residents can no longer afford the rent, so they're roommating up, otherwise known as doubling, which negatively affects demand. This can have a devastating impact on your loan if your NOI drops below the minimum debt service coverage ratio required by your lender. If you're feeling the pressure on rental rates in any of your properties, or you're already lowering your rents and you don't know what to do about it, we may be able to help. You can, and click here, put a link to your calendar to schedule a time on my calendar if you'd like to talk about how we can help you, or reply to this email with questions you may have. Pretty doggone good first email, isn't it? What do you guys think about that? Very timely. Okay. Now, there is a guru in the marketplace that will provide you with an email template that you can use for an automated email sequencing campaign. Under no circumstance does it look anything like this. I mean, nothing like this. And you pay $10,000 to get access to this email sequence. Okay. But it's junk. It's all templated. It's just junk. So anyway, sorry. There I get on my soapbox again. Oh, subject line for this was, oh yeah, time was running out. Okay. So number 2, email 2, subject line. This is a week later now. So this one goes out as soon as you tried to make that phone call with the owner, didn't get the owner. Then you left a voicemail. You sent them that initial email, and when you add the contact to the CRM, you trigger this first email. So this goes out that same day. So they get 2 emails that day. They get the one about your voicemail, and they get this one. All right, they get both. 1 week later, Subject line will pay your mortgage. Again, back to the master lease option method. We want to cover your mortgage payment on your multifamily property S and multiple properties. We'd like to guarantee your mortgage is covered for by us for the next 3 years, allowing you to get through the coming recession with less stress and anxiety of whether your multifamily is in jeopardy or not. I thought the best place to start is to schedule a short phone call to see if our solution fits your situation. Please call me at, reply to this email, or schedule a time on my calendar by clicking here. Email 3, 1 week later, must have multifamily resources. I wanted to share a few great resources that give you access to every county's public record database and GIS maps, every city's municipal codes and ordinances, every metropolitan area's building permit data, and U.S. Census Quick Facts database. So here is netronline.com, library.municode.com. This is all the municipal codes for all the municipalities around the country. Building permits by metropolitan area at census.gov and census quick facts at census.gov for demographic information. There's a list of all 47 resources that can help you in your decision making, whether it's for operations, project management, or determine whether to sell or hold an investment in other markets. Click here to see all resources. And here is the link that you would use to highlight this. And this is a public link that we have at CCIM Institute inside of Site to Do Business that is public for everybody. So we provide them that information. So this one's just value, just 100% value. Hope these resources help. If you have any questions, please call me, email me, or schedule a time on my calendar. Are there any questions? I'm hearing some chatter. Could be just feedback. Okay. All right. Next one, week later, forecasting population post-COVID-19. So it wasn't post-COVID-19. I just had forecasting population as my subject line. One of the owners in the marketplace that is in my MSA here locally is Grant Cardone. He owns a 300 unit over in Baldwin County. Grant got this email because he was on my marketing list. And his assistant responded to me and said, Mr. Cardone would like you on his show. And I'm like, okay, that's interesting. Why? She said, because he received your email about forecasting future population and he found it very interesting. He loves your expertise and he'd like to interview you on his show in a few months. Are you available to come to Hollywood, Florida on such and such date? I was like, yeah, I can make myself available for that. I think we could have some fun doing that. And she's like, oh, okay, great. Then thanks. We'll see you at this time. And I'm like, oh, wait. And she's like, what? And I said, well, aren't you going to ask me more information so you can arrange my travel? She goes, oh, we don't do that. Okay. So you want this self-proclaimed close to being billionaire, bring my expertise for free to his show, and you won't even provide my travel arrangements. And she's like, no, we don't do that. And I'm like, well, thank you very much, but I decline your offer. Now, to this day, do I regret that? Yes and no. Using other people's audiences is like the #1 thing you can do to try to build your presence. I failed in that respect because I let people get in the way. But I'm kind of glad I didn't, because there isn't very many people I have less respect for in the marketplace than Grant Cardone. So there's that. Anyway, when looking at a market to decide if you're going to hold, sell, or invest, the most important metric is job growth loss, more specifically, basic job growth loss. So basically, I go over how to forecast future population, not quite as brief as we did when we were in module 2 or session number 2 today. It goes a little bit more in depth on it and provides a resource for them to be able to download. Emerging U.S. real estate markets. 2021 saw historic rent growth in the multifamily industry across the nation in most markets. Employers and population left the West Coast and northeastern states, moved south and to Boise, Idaho. Is your market growing, declining, or how do you know? CCIM Institute teaches a strategic analysis model, which includes market analysis, location, site analysis, political, legal analysis, financial analysis. Blah, 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 blah. I can talk fast sometimes. The question I get more than any other is, which do you start with? Okay. And it just keeps going and talks about market analysis, right? So just providing value. There's always a way to contact me at the end of every one of these emails. Next one, a week later. Not the new normal. I asked the question earlier, how many times have you guys heard this is a new normal? Okay, well, it's not a new normal. So I talk about how it's not a new normal and how we are experiencing rent decreases and occupancy decreases around the country. Increase cash flow by 20%. This is talking about cost seg. So if they are not familiar with cost segregation, I give them just some good information about how to get a cost seg, even if they have purchased the property in the last 5 years, how they can still qualify for it. All right. Any questions? Give me a call. Number 8, we want to lease all of your units. How's that for a subject line? Would you guys respond to that one? Bueller. Dominique says, yep.
Yeah, that's solid.
Right. So if I'm doing a master lease option method, this is a big one. I love this subject line. Okay. So again, just talking about guaranteeing their mortgage and master lease in their property. Then, of course, if you want to continue on, there's just a template to keep going. But there are 8 emails that you guys can just plug into your business and just start using today. Feel free to use them exactly as they are. Although I would recommend learning a little bit about how to forecast future population before you send that one, because if they email back and say, this is great, how in the world do you do it? You're going to need to know how to do it. Of course, if you're a strategic partnering member, you would call me and just say, we need to get on a call with this owner. He needs to know how to do this. And I'll help you out. All right. So that's the email marketing sequence. Is that valuable? Yes or yes?
Indeed.
Yes.
That was a redundant question. Yes or yes. See, that's a sales technique. Get people to start saying yes. Again, transparency. All right. So that's email campaigns. How about hiring a virtual assistant? You guys ever have anybody teach you how to hire a virtual assistant or even explain the process? Probably not. We're a multifamily community. Why would I teach you how to hire a VA? I'm going to tell you to use one. Why am I going to teach you how to hire one? Well, here's how I hire my VAs. And they have worked out swimmingly well for me. So what can a VA do for you? Well, they can schedule appointments for you, which would be key to this presentation, so that you can get freed up to only hold appointments and talk to decision makers. Number 1 rule in sales is the more time during the golden hours, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., Monday through Friday, the more time you can spend in front of your prospect, the better you'll do in business. Okay. The golden hours. So if we can get VAs to schedule these appointments for us, then all we're doing is holding the appointments and spending time in front of our prospects. All right. They can skip trace contact lists for you. We talked about that already. They can mail letters for you. You send them the letter, you provide them with the money to be able to buy the envelopes and the stamps, and they can do that for you. Post social media content, enter data into the CRM. They can also do graphics for you. I have a virtual assistant that I use that does all of my logos and my YouTube thumbnail photos. So how do we hire them? Well, we can go to what they're called listing exchange resources. No different than property listing exchanges, only these are finding vendors that we can utilize, virtual assistants. So you can go to fiverr.com, upwork.com, or onlinejobs.ph. My personal preference is onlinejobs.ph. That is in the Philippines. PH is Philippines. They are English taught in school. They're a fairly poor country, so you can get a really, really good rate that is very, very beneficial to them. We should always be working towards a win-win. Okay. And they do very good work. The one downside to use in the Philippines is if you are giving them something that isn't understandable or you didn't train them properly, they will not contact you and let you know they don't understand. They will hide. It's got to be clear. You need to ask them, do you understand? If you don't, it's okay. Please let me know you don't so I can explain it clearer. If you do not do that, they will ghost you, okay? Because it's in their DNA, it's in their culture that they don't want you to know that they don't know the answer to something. So you've got to be clear and ask them that. That's
they don't handle conflict well at all.
They do not handle conflict well. That's correct. All right.
And
so
I would say the same thing about Indians.
There you go. So post your need. You'll need to create a job description and make it as detailed as possible. Each one of these services allows you to post that job description. So you want a subject and a job description. So you're going to post it. Most of them are very, very affordable. Some are even free to post. But if you're going to do more than one post, then you've got to pay a monthly fee. Like onlinejobs.ph, it's free to post. What they're hoping is that you'll be posting more than one and that you'll take their monthly fee, which is really, really nominal. So post your need. Now, what I mean here by subject line and it kills 90%, what you want to do is in the very first paragraph above the job description, I want you to state, when responding to this job post, when you reply, put in quotes something, whether it's skip trace, owners, appointments, something that has to do with your job posting. And this is going to kill 90% of your applicants because you'll get a bunch of applicants. The reason we're doing this is we're looking for attention to detail. That's the only thing this does. We're looking for attention to detail and let them know to put it in quotes. So if you tell them appointments in quotes in the subject line, you will have some that will respond that will just have appointments. It won't be in quotes. So right away, they either didn't pay attention to the post or there's a communication or language breakdown. Great. They've eliminated themselves already. We don't have to deal with it. Okay. So they didn't make it through to phase 2. So that's how we kill 90% right off the bat. The next thing we do is the ones that do what you tell them to do. And you go and you view their resumes. And I can't remember what those cards are called. They've got this thing that they can create that's really cool. It creates this little web page for their resume and the stuff that they've done. I think they're called portfolios. Anyway, you can go in and look at that and make sure that they're going to be a good fit. And then you email them for the ones that you're moving to phase 2. And you say, now I want you to create a Loom video on loom.com on why you're a good fit. There's a couple of reasons we're doing this, especially if they're going to be doing outreach for you to build appointments. You want to make sure that they communicate well. Loom is free for the first 5 minutes. So make sure you let them know, do not go over 5 minutes, and then send me the link after you create it. So it allows them to show themselves on the screen so you can see them. You get to hear their voice so you can hear how they communicate. And then you can identify how well they respond to why they're a good fit. Okay. So you get all this. That's going to kill, that's going to kill the next 90%. So we have 10% left. Now 90% of them are gone. Some aren't going to do it. Some don't want to be in front of a camera. And if you're wanting to do Zoom meetings with them, you're going to need them in front of a camera. And some will do it or just going to be really bad. But you have to choose from there to go to step 3. Step 3 is creating that one-on-one interview with them. So now you say, okay, you let them know how many you have left. I have 3, 4, 5 people left remaining out of all the applicants we've had. Congratulations, you made it to the final phase. I'd like to have a one-on-one interview with you. Here is a link to my schedule. Please schedule a time on it. And you'll kill another 1 or 2 that aren't going to want to talk to you one-on-one. And so that'll whittle it down to where you only have a few left. And now you have to choose from the few that are left. Do you want just one of them? Do you want none of them, start the process over again? Or do you want 2 out of the 3, or maybe even all 3? You don't know until you have that conversation with them. And then you hire the ones that are a fit, and you rinse and repeat for all the VAs that you need. This has worked swimmingly well for me. All right. Any questions on this? This is a great process, and it weeds everybody out.
Hey, David, what software or platform are you using to track what type of work they do and how many hours they work?
So I don't pay on an hourly basis. I pay weekly, no matter how much that they do. So I've got one that builds websites for me for a program that I offered a year ago. Well, not quite a year ago, but about 9 months ago. Has it been 9 months? Yeah, about 9 months ago. I offered a program. It was a done for you. And they build my websites for that program. And I just pay them a flat weekly fee, no matter how much work they do. But, you know, technically they're supposed to be doing about 40 hours of work, but as long as I'm getting the work done that I like, then I'm not worried about that. Upwork.com is the best one for tracking hours if you want to track hours. And they have the ability to pay the VA if you want to do that. Onlinejobs.ph also has that ability, but isn't as good as Upwork's. Fiverr's actually sucks. The problem with Fiverr is you must pay your VA through Fiverr. If you get somebody on Fiverr, you do not have to do that through Online Jobs or through Upwork. Now, if you're using the scheduler on Upwork, you do have to pay them through Upwork. I like to use a service called wise.com, WISE.com, to pay my VAs. It's an international payment app, much like, what are those payments at? It's not really like PayPal. It's much better than PayPal, but it's like Vimeo, what's it called? Vimo or Cash App or something like that. It's like that for international payments. And it even converts to their currency automatically. There is a small fee to use it for per transaction, but it comes out of their pay, not you. So I love that service, and I use it for all my VAs, and they love it. My first VA turned me on to it, and it's been safe to this point. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. I guess the challenge I'm having is I've had a VA now for about 6 months, and I'm very forgetful. So I'll tell her to do something Monday, and I pay her a flat fee as well. So I'll tell her to do something Monday, and the following Monday I can't recall if I sent that to her or not. I'm like, hey, did I tell you to do this? And I just I need a system that I'll know what she has completed and has not completed if it's something like minimal.
So Jason says Asana. I used Trello for our first VA that we hired. He doesn't work for us anymore. We have another one now in his place. He had some major flooding issues, lost most of his equipment. At least that's what he said. In any case, we use Trello to track everything he did. I hate Trello. I don't like those systems, although they are good systems to use because you can go through phases with them if that's what you need. For what I do now is I use Google Chat, and everything is recorded in Google Chat as to what we're working on. So that way I can't forget. All I got to do is go into Google Chat and say, okay, what's this? I got this person working on now, and I can go look. And most of these VAs use Google anyway, and they love Google Chat. I do not use, what's it called? WhatsApp. I hate that. A lot of them are going to want to use WhatsApp. I will not use WhatsApp. I cannot stand that app. So it's just a personal preference of mine. I don't like it. Okay. I don't think anybody uses Skype anymore, Jason. That's old news. But anyway, those are different things that you can do. So
David, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So when you said you use Google Chat, so basically once you hire them, that's pretty much how you're communicating with them?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so I created a checklist. And all my VIP members and above get access to the checklist. So create that job description for the position you need to fill. Post the position on a VA listing exchange. What listing exchange did I use? Create a title that will hook someone's attention. What title did I use? In the first sentence above the job description, start the post as follows. When responding to this post, put in quotes in the subject line, include the quotes. Okay, that's going to weed out 80 to 90%. Eliminate all those that do not follow the subject line directions, number of applicants moving to the next phase. Have the applicant create a video using loom.com, which is free for the first 5 minutes, and ask the applicant to record a video of why they believe they're the best person for the position, and have them send you the link to the video. Eliminate all the applicants that do not respond with the video. Watch all the videos, number of videos submitted. Determine who you want to interview from watching the videos and send them a calendar request. Let them know they're moving to the final phase and instructions on how you'll conduct the meeting. After the interviews, hire the VA. Name of VA, what you agree to pay them. Set up an account at wise.com. If you're not paying through the listing service, this service will pay international vendors and automatically change their country's currency. Okay, so there is a checklist that you can use for this process. Questions on hiring a VA?
How do you train them for what you want them to do? That's all through Google Chat, or is this on a Zoom?
I would do a Zoom meeting to train them. If you're hiring somebody to appointment set for you, you're going to have to train them. Didn't really have to train the 2 VAs I currently have. I've got one for graphics and one for web development because they're experts in what they do. They could actually train me on how to do that stuff. But if you're trying to get them like skip tracing, what information do you want skip traced? And so you'll have to train them on that, but that should be fairly brief. Most of the skip tracers already know how to do skip tracing, even for real estate. And then setting appointments will be your most onerous one, because you're actually going to have to train them on the scripts, have them practice the scripts and do different things like that when they're reaching out to those owners. And you've got to be able to get over the fact that you're going to have to give them access to your tools. You're going to have to give them access to your CRM and to other things so that they can do that work for you. Tico says, pay for Loom, create short how-to videos in there. They'll have access to all your trainings. Yeah, or just record on Zoom and give them access to those recordings. Many
Yeah,
are
I was going to say Loom is great for, short little how-to videos.
Correct. That is absolutely correct. And I use Loom a lot for customer requests, relationship management, things like that. I like Loom. All right.
Okay, and so do you just recommend they use the REI skip, or do you let them use whatever they're used to using if they have a
let them
system?
use their own tool. If you're hiring a VA for skip tracing, they'll have their own tool.
Okay, thanks.
REI skip is if you're going to do the skip tracing yourself.
Yeah, if you're hiring somebody that's claims to be an expert in their area, you should be able to figure that out after you've interviewed them. Are they really or not? You don't want to handicap them by, demanding that they use a tool just because you like it.
That's correct. Good. Thank you, Sean.
Okay, thank you.
Now, by the same token, if you're hiring somebody and you're training them to do something they've never done before, you have to think like a computer programmer, because they are going to do exactly what you tell them, exactly the way you tell them, even if it's wrong.
Yeah. Agreed.
Okay.
Agreed. Exactly right. All right. Action steps to move us forward. So get ownership information, however it is you get it, whether you get it through any of the listing exchanges or they're basically ownership exchanges, CoStar, Reonomy, Prospect Now, Land Vision. Skip trace the ownership data because you're going to want to narrow it down and get more accurate data, and you can get a little bit more, and it's not costly at all to do so. use a skip tracing tool like REI Skip, or hire a virtual assistant to do it for you. Download my marketing plan and email campaign and modify it to make it your own. Okay. So that gets you completed through the foundations and to your action plan. So now, if you guys will follow everything we've done today, take the documents, if you're VIP, that you've got, and modify those documents, fill them out, and get the foundation done, get that action plan, get that marketing plan done, you are ready to roll as early as tomorrow or even Monday and start finding these opportunities.